Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Leila, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. Have a look at the links that I have for you so you can explore and master this amazing deck. Welcome to a new weekly reading. We've got the Zen deck today and we are doing a pyramid layout, which is also a version of the line of 7. So let's go ahead and start with you, Aries, and see what is in store for you. Okay, Aries, here is your line of 7 and it's looking pretty positive in general. We have the beautiful clover at the beginning of the line. The tree is also bright and the heart at the end of the line is something that's going to make you happy. What's interesting is the middle card is the cross, and the cross is one of those layered cards that can mean a few different things. In this context, in this line, just from the overview, it sounds like there's going to be something pretty important that comes through. And it's not just a cross that tells us this, but we also have the bear, which is a card of strength and it makes everything big. And we have the tower, which can be that element of elevation. It is also about authority and government and things at the top or people at the top. So we have these 3 cards here that bring up a matter of importance for you. So let's get to this in a bit. Let's back up to the beginning of the line. We have the clover and tree and bear. So actually these are some really bright cards because they point to growth. It can also be something like a promotion or a step up, some kind of elevation in some area of your life. I want to suggest though, Aries, that because of the tree and I would say also the clover, they are pretty peaceful cards. There's no need to be pushy about this, and I think it's more about welcoming this and allowing things to unfold. It sounds like they are moving in this improvement kind of direction, enhancement, and things strengthening and growing. Now, like I said, in the middle we have the cross, so this points to something important. We see it with the bear and letter, so they are on either side of the cross. Now, the letter is a card of news. It can also be about some other kind of communication. There's possibilities here, it depends on you. And it can also point to things like paperwork, documents, applications, and things like that. And when we have the tower, which is often a card of administration and law, or not necessarily such a big deal, but it tends to be about admin and government and things like that. So perhaps there is some kind of news or paperwork or application that you're going after, and this could be key for you this week. Now, what's really nice is the heart at the end of the line, because it is a card of happiness. And so it sounds like the news is good, or the procedure moves forward, or your application is accepted, or there's some good communication here with someone with whom you're working through with this. And it is another card of elevation and improvement. So we have the tree, bear, and tower, and these are all upward kind of cards. So it's definitely clear that there's an improvement ahead, and that's going to make you pretty happy. And also, Aries, the cross is a card of decisions. And when I see it with the bear and letter, it sounds like you need to make a big decision about something or respond in a certain way. And this could be part of the reason why you're taking things slow, because it's pretty significant for you. In all cases, I think things work out really nicely because of the tower and heart. So a really interesting spread here. I would say it's, even though it's quite positive, it's also on the neutral side where things are progressing and you're taking some steps, making decisions, having to follow up on some communication or paperwork and things like that. But it's definitely heading in the right direction. Now, looking at the pairs along the sides of the pyramid, we have the bear and letter at the top, and this is quite a nice, clear, not so much a nice, it's kind of neutral, but it is important news. So again, as we saw earlier, the tree and tower is great for growth and even things like promotion and improvements along with the bear. But they are also slower cards, and they point to time and things taking their time. So there is a slower energy in the line, but of course this is a weekly reading, so it's within the the brackets of the week. So focusing on growth, and also I would say again, not being pushy and things like that. Things are coming around, things are lining up. The clover and heart is lovely. This is the brightest pair in the whole layout, and it brings something very positive. I would say it aligns with your hopes and your ambitions, or things that you've been wanting to see materialize. They're very likely to materialize. I have to say though, Aries, that the Clover can be a little bit unpredictable. So when things work out, and hopefully they will, it may not necessarily be in the way that you had in mind. So it's a good idea to keep an open mind. Another thing, Aries, is that the cards can apply in different contexts. So we're not specifically seeing money, work, home, family, specific relationship. The cards are kind of flexible in this sense. So it can apply at work or something else that you're doing. It could be, for example, your education. You're pursuing, something, and you get the positive feedback that allows you to move up and to move forward. In terms of a relationship, the line can be tweaked a little bit in terms of how we read it so far. There's definitely contact with someone. It can be someone from the past because of the Tower. Usually it refers to a past chapter. And earlier we have these slower cards that unfold until this important piece of communication comes through. I think the relationship can be pretty strong. This is certainly a good pair, and it can be something for the longer term. It can be something that's more committed, and it can also be a strong bond. It's not necessarily a romantic relationship, and we're not really seeing very strongly romantic cards. The heart is a nice card. It's it's soft and happy in that sense, but we're not really seeing the ring or the lily that binds people in that sense. And also the tree and tower, they tend to be more on the independent and solitude kind of side of things, but they're still overall really good cards for a strong connection. And someone you had been wanting to get in touch with or waiting to hear back from seems to come back, or you hear back. So nice cards. I would say take it easy, Aries. Things are unfolding. Follow up, but don't be pushy, and also prepare for stepping up, whether this is at work or in another area of your life. Be ready for, to embrace this growth and to be, I guess, happy about it. Let me know what you make of this, Aries. Nice line, I would say. Leave me your thoughts. As always, I look forward to them. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Taurus, let's get into your line of 7 or your pyramid, and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Taurus, here is your line of 7. It's very positive, except for the whip, which is quite an interesting card to see in this line. We have lots of very bright cards. We have the sun and the key, and we have the tree that is also positive. We also have movement cards. We have the stork and ship, and this could be a big move, even like moving places altogether. In all likelihood, in terms of a weekly reading, there's probably a lot that you need to do, and you could be going, places. You could be a little bit all over the place. Of course, for some of you, it could be a big trip or a big move. So the tree and sun is lovely for growth and seeing wishes materialize. It's a positive combination all around, and it affects your life as a whole or a specific area. The stork is about change and movement. With the tree, there can be an element of growth, and certainly with the sun, this is something that you want and that you're pursuing. And the ship is another card that is sort of a change card in the sense that it sails forward. It is great for pursuing goals, and it also sets things into motion. So we see that there's a bit of contrast between the tree earlier and the stork and ship. The tree tends to be settled and peaceful and calm, and it tends to be a bit private, whereas the stork and ship are very outward cards. They're very active cards. So when we see them on the other side of the tree, especially with the beautiful sun, it sounds like it's a really good time, Taurus, to make changes, to pick up and do things, and to infuse your life and your activity with this positive energy. Now, of course, it can point to wish fulfillment. So you could have been waiting on something to materialize, and we see here with the stork and ship that you get the green light. Now, the heart with the ship is definitely about pursuing the things you love. So again, this is very likely aligned with your hopes, your dreams, your goals and ambitions. Now, the whip is quite challenging. In fact, it is the most challenging card of the deck. And with the heart, it often points to a heartbreak, something disappointing, and an upset. it would have been more dramatic if we didn't have the key. And so in this sense, it can mean that some things turn out to be disappointing, or perhaps there are some challenges that you need to deal with as you pursue your goals in here. But the key is a great card to see after the whip, because the key is precisely a card of problem solving. So after the whip, we see that you're in for solutions and that you're going to be able to deal with whatever challenges you face. I have a feeling, Taurus, that these positive things that materialize, they could rock your boat, they could challenge you in maybe personal ways, and it's like it's challenging you to be bigger, to be stronger, to live up to these ambitions that you're pursuing. And certainly with the key, you have what it takes. The key is also really good with being resourceful, so relying on yourself and coming up with solutions and being creative and solving whatever challenges come your way. So it's really nice to wrap up the line with it. It helps overcome the whip, and I don't think it's meant to deter you from your overall ambition. If there are some adjustments, fine. If there are some challenges, you can deal with them, but this is definitely exciting, Taurus. Now let's look at these pairs. We have the Stork and Heart, so these are changes that make you happy. It's also probably the green light or the feedback that enables you to make this change. The Sun and Whip is also easier, because the Sun is a very bright card, one of the brightest, and it is a match for the Whip. And we also have the Key. So it's another card that helps lighten up the whip and the challenges. I also have to say, Taurus, that the whip is not necessarily always challenging. It can require a lot of energy and, you know, being direct with certain things. And so that's also what you could be called to do. Now the Tree and Key is a lovely pair. I love to see this pair. It's one of my favorites. It's about achieving something very significant. And so again, that's where, you know, we see this beautiful energy materializing and this door opening, and you're able to pursue things. So go for it. Don't be deterred by challenges. If anything, they're probably going to make you stronger, and they're going to teach you a lot, and that's going to be part of the overall advantage. Now, Taurus, I'm not really seeing in the cards in what area this is. Yes, there could be a travel element, but the travel element can affect a specific area of your life, or it can affect your life as a whole. And again, these are not necessarily about travel, especially in a weekly reading, at least not a big move and things like that. So the cards can apply in different contexts. They're great for work, where you can get a project or a job. They're great for your other projects, or maybe your business, where you're setting things into motion. And yes, it could be, you know, a bit stressful here with the whip, but you're definitely on the right track. Now, in terms of relationships, there can be an issue that comes up between you and the person, but they're not without a solution. This can be something like an argument or a disagreement, or maybe something happens that causes you to doubt. It's not, the whip is not really the card for doubt, but there can be a range of issues here that come up. Again, the key at the end of the line is really nice to see, and I think and you're going to be able to take control and solve whatever issues come your way as you pursue this wonderful opportunity here. Let me know what you make of these cards, Taurus. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Gemini, let's get into your pyramid layout. Let's do this. It's a line of 7, and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Gemini, here is your pyramid or line of 7, and despite some initial challenges here, we have a pretty nice right-hand side of the pyramid. In the center, we have the letter, so this week is focused on news or some kind of communication. The letter is also a card of paperwork, especially with a card like the Tower, which tends to be about administration and maybe government offices or something like that, sometimes legal. And so the letter and Tower points to some paperwork that you could be following up on. Of course, it can be in other contexts. It doesn't have to be that, but usually the Tower has a more formal or official kind of feel. And obviously with the Clover and Tree, things work out nicely. Now earlier, we have the Clouds with the Anchor and Fox. So this is a bit tricky, especially with the Clouds and Fox. The Clouds can bring tension and confusion, and the Fox can be a trap. And the Fox has other sides as well. It's a clever card and it can be a card of jobs. But with the Clouds and Anchor, I feel that you want to be vigilant about something, not to fall for something. Maybe you're looking at the fine print or some other details that you need to bring out into the surface that we see through the letter Gemini. So these are some helpful cards. So you want to stay focused on the details. You also want to be careful of anything. And also Gemini, if you feel that something is not aligned with you, then stand your ground. The Anchor is really good at creating boundaries and giving you confidence. Like I said, with the Tower, Clover, and Tree, things work out pretty nicely. The Clover and Tree is a combination of growth and success, and it is also a card of stability. The Tower is also helpful with that sense of security, and so is the Anchor. So these are some nice cards. So I would say, Gemini, if you're willing to put in a bit of work and to focus on the details, make sure everything is fine, you should come out pretty with a pretty good advantage here. It's also possible, Gemini, that you had been having a hard time getting feedback or following up on this situation with the letter and Tower, but it sounds like this week you're able to move forward and things work out positively. Now, in terms of work, because the Fox is often a card of jobs, and we have the Tower, and so this can bring up your work or your business. There can be some issues with the job, or maybe a specific customer or a colleague, or just a situation in general. But again, this letter with the communication aspect of the letter suggests that things can work out. So it's a good idea to communicate. So if you're facing problems with anyone, whether it's job related or otherwise, it's a good idea this week, Gemini, to focus on being clear with your communication. And I would say don't share anything or get in touch without being clear about what you want to say, right? So first figure out your thoughts, figure out where you stand, and then communicate so that you can, attract this positive feedback and this positive outcome that we see here. It can also be like this job that you get, but there could have been some issues or troubles to get to this point, or maybe the other person is hard to get in touch with, but again, this week sounds promising and it looks like you could get at least some feedback that you can build on moving forward. Now, the Fox and Tower is very much a combination for work, or perhaps it can represent a colleague in this certain environment, or it can represent a government agent or someone you're working with. Regardless of the context, usually the Fox and Tower is a bit on the negative side. It's a person that you need to deal with, not always easy to deal with, but it sounds like they're important. So be patient and things will work out. The Anchor and Clover is lovely. This brings a very positive outcome, and it is also great for your sense of security and confidence. I have to say, Gemini, the Clover can be a bit unpredictable. So the way things work out might not necessarily be how you've imagined. So keep an open mind and see what comes through, but also don't give up on this. The Clouds and Tree is also lovely for overcoming doubts. It does take a bit of patience, and again, Gemini, I think it's important for you to be clear about what you want, what you're going to do, what you're going to say, or how you're going to follow up before you do it. So be clear and take a bit of time with it if you need to, so that when you reach out or when you communicate, things are smoother moving forward. And you probably also need this time to look into the details, and like we said, the Fox alerts you to some possible issues with the offer or the news, and this fine print or other details here. So take your time with this to figure everything out, and then get in touch or follow up, and hopefully you're able to move forward. So some bright cards overall, just a bit of due diligence here, a bit of patience with working things out, and you'll soon be on the other side of it. The cards are not particularly romantic or about personal relationships, so I don't really see them applying in this context. But in case they are for you, Gemini, or some of you, the earlier cards here point to issues and doubts, question marks around the relationship. But again, the letter, especially in the middle, can mean that you communicate about this and you're on the same page moving forward, which is really bright in here. One more thing I can suggest, Gemini, is that the Fox is great with being tactful and careful and diplomatic. So don't jump the gun. You know, even if it's a bit complicated, just be patient and be easy with how you communicate and how you follow up, and I'm sure you'll find that things work out. Let me know what you make of this, Gemini. Let me know what this letter was about for you, whether it was contact or paperwork or some other form of exchange, I would say, and what the somewhat sensitive situation here, and hopefully things worked out for you. As always, I look forward to your feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Cancer, let's get into your pyramid or your line of 7, and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Cancer, here is your line of 7. There are a few challenges earlier in the line. We have the whip and mouse. These are challenging. Each one of them on their own is challenging, so together it has like a bit of a stronger energy. But the cards here are helpful with making changes and making moves eventually. Now the cards are kind of broad in the sense that the context is not really clear. It can be any area of your life. What we're seeing here is a dynamic of what is happening. The letter is in the middle of the line. The letter is a card of news, contact, communication. It can also be about paperwork, especially with the Tower. I just got that for Gemini, actually. And so it tends to suggest something like something official, paperwork, procedures, applications, and things like that. That's possible. Or it can be communicating with someone in an office, whether it's at work or in some other context. So let's back up here and see what is going on. We have the Anchor with the whip and mouse. So there's definitely something that goes wrong. There is something that comes up. It could be an argument or a disagreement, or it could be a situation that comes up that is challenging. The Anchor is a card that is strongly settled, whereas the whip can shake that a little bit. So I think what's happening here, you could have your foundation or your sense of stability a bit shaken. With the letter, it can be this news that is a bit difficult, but it can also be that you are reaching out as a result of the issues that you're facing. And with the letter and Tower, this could be, I have to say, some kind of complaint where you reach to management, for example, or you take it up with someone who's in a specific office who can help. And with the House and Stork, this is great for changes. It can be a house move altogether. I'm not so sure this is the best way to interpret these cards, although it can apply to some of you. Instead, the more likely meaning of this pair and in the context here is changes that are made. So obviously there are problems, and then you're able to make changes. The thing about these cards is that we don't have a very positive, bright card like a sun or a flowers or a key, but it certainly seems like things are going to be, at least you're going to start working to resolve this. So I think the letter and Tower can also offer you advice in view of the challenges here. So if you can get in touch with someone about this, Cancer, then do this. Don't keep the problems to yourself. At least inquire and see what you could do. We can also look at the pairs here. The mouse and Tower can be a few different possibilities here. This could have been a long-standing problem. It could also be a warning for you not to let this drag and to take action. The whip and house points to the environment where the problems are happening. The house is usually home and family, but it can also represent another space in your life. Obviously, there's a challenge that comes up. This is a brighter combination with the Anchor and Stork. We could be looking at a positive conclusion. But again, it's really important that you do something about this, Cancer. Take it up with someone, with the right people, or the office, or escalate it, as they say, and you will hopefully find some steps and get to work on solving this. The context of the cards, like I was saying earlier, it doesn't really come through. It can be a challenge in any area, and so that's going to come down to your specifics. But let's consider a few different scenarios. If this is about work, it sounds like you would need to talk to your manager to deal with the problem, and then you get to work on dealing with this. There can be some changes as well. If this is in your personal life, not necessarily relationships, but you need to deal with something. Maybe you're having problems at home or in your apartment, and there are issues here that you need to deal with. It could be straight up things like repairs, and it could be other issues in your situation, in your environment. The cards are not so much about personal relationships, but in case they are, communication is going to be key. There's definitely earlier here some kind of disagreement or a problem that comes up, and it could shake your confidence a little bit in the relationship. So it's a good idea to communicate about it, and then maybe give it a bit of time with the Tower. And with the House in Stork, there can be changes again. Because of the, they're interesting. The Whip and House, again, it rocks the boat, it brings up the issues. The Anchor and Stork can mean giving this a chance. So sticking with this, but I think at least making some adjustments that can help clarify things moving forward. Cancer, it sounds like this is a good thing to do. So again, regardless of the context, the letter being so central in the line suggests that you want to communicate about this, Cancer. At least inquire, ask questions, seek to clarify so that you have some way forward or some ideas on how to move forward. Or the changes that you need to work on, we see that they pick up within the week, hopefully. Let me know what you make of this, Cancer. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. I'm curious about what this letter is and what the issue that came up was, if you're willing to share. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, let's get into your pyramid or line of 7, and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Leo, here is your line of 7, and it's clear that there's a focus on a person or a relationship. We have the Woman at the end of the line, we have the Heart, and we also have the House, which can be about people. The thing about these cards is that it sounds like it's a bit negative or challenging. We have the Snake at the beginning, we have the Road in the middle, and the Scythe next to the Woman. So it sounds like there is some kind of parting. Now, it doesn't have to be that there is a fallout between you and this person or some kind of issue that causes you to part ways, but it can mean that someone has to leave, and it's just the fact of the matter, and this could be a bit difficult. This said, the Snake is often a deceptive card, and in relationships, Leo, it tends to be a third party. It can be the card of cheating. Now, I usually need more dramatic cards than these next to the Snake to come to this conclusion, but it can bring up something a bit disappointing, if not a little bit toxic. The Snake and Mountain is often about going around someone's back or getting around an obstacle. It does call for a bit of an indirect route here. And the Mountain is also a card of blockages. So when it comes to feelings and personal relationships and these warmer energies, it tends to be cold. So it's the opposite of that. We see it with the Heart. So we've got the Mountain between the Snake and Heart. So it sounds like there's a bit of a distance between you and this person. And the Road adds to this. The Road is a card of moves and changes. It is also a potentially card of choices. So you might need to make a decision about this person, and there can be also circumstances that push you away from each other, at least for the time being. The Road with the House and the Scythe, these are moves and changes. So this person can be leaving, you could be leaving, there can be a move, there can be changes within a certain environment that is represented by the House, and we have the Woman on the other side of the Scythe. So there's very clear messages of someone leaving and a parting of sorts. My feeling is that it's a bit of an issue that comes up because of the Snake, but the cards overall, they're not dramatic, to the point where there is like a disagreement or a fallout or a breakup or things like that. They can be, but it can also be that the circumstances around you cause this kind of parting. So someone needs to leave, there are changes, or you need to leave, and it causes you to have to move away from this person. Now, the Heart and House usually represent something closer to home or something closer to your heart. There are these warmer energies here, so it can represent a relationship that is in your maybe family, but in your inner circle more generally. The Scythe and Mountain is actually nice to break through obstacles. So whatever was stuck moves, but again, this is also part of the changes between you and this person. And the Snake and Woman points to a bit of a more challenging combination here, because the Snake tends to indicate that people are not particularly honest, not very well-intended, and also not really genuine about a connection. So this could be a bit difficult, Leo, where there is a parting between you and a person. Maybe there's a fallout. Maybe you feel that it's not really okay, and there's sort of this parting that happens. And it could also be someone has to leave, someone has to move. But because of the snake and woman, there can be this bit of a negative energy between you and this person. Something else, Leo, is that the cards can be about a personal relationship. Well, they are about a relationship. It can be personal, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a relationship in another area of your life. Think, for example, in terms of work or in terms of a customer where there's maybe, it's not really a great fit and you sort of part ways. Or there could be an issue with someone at work. So you sort of go separate ways a little bit. And similar changes or issues that come up that causes this parting. Let me know what you make of this, Leo. Let me know who the person was and what was the situation that led to this. As always, I look forward to your thoughts. Let me know what you make of this, Leo. Let me know who this person was and what the changes were. And if this was maybe a circumstance or something more personal between you and this person. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with this, Leo. And until next time, thank you for watching and take very good care of yourself. Okay, Virgo, let's get into your pyramid or your line of 7 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Virgo, here's a lovely line. We have a relationship that clearly comes into focus through the ring and dog, and we have some lovely steps forward with the beautiful sun, road, and heart. The stork is in the middle. The stork is a card of changes and action and activity. So this is looking like a really nice week with quite a lot of positive energies and things moving forward in a very positive and probably a way that you want. So the ring and fish is often a combination for work and business and money related things. And with the dog, this could be someone like a customer, or it could be someone who helps you with work, a colleague, or someone like that. But it doesn't have to be. It could also be a personal relationship or a friend. I have to say that the fish in relationships tend to have a strong positive aspect when it comes to the physical level of the relationship. So this could be a really strong connection in that sense as well. The stork with the sun sets things into motion in a really positive direction. And with the road and heart, we really add to this in the same way. So it's really pursuing something that you want, or the relationship is one that you desire, and it's moving forward in a really nice way. The heart with the road, especially with the sun, suggests that maybe hearts are getting closer. So there's some really good chemistry here between you and the person, or really, really good connection. It could be just a friendship or some other kind of relationship. It sounds like you're getting along, that you're able to connect, and it's evolving in a really nice way. So these are some really nice cards. It can also be good for work because the fish is a card of money, so maybe you're getting an opportunity of sorts. So like I said, it could be a customer, which leads to a very lovely path forward, and it is also great for your sense of prosperity and abundance, good connections with others in that context. The dog and sun is lovely for a friendship, so a very nice connection here. And like we said, the dog can represent other people as well, not just a friend. It can represent a customer, a sibling, or some other person in your life. So a really nice connection here. The fish and road is great for pursuing a certain ambition, certain goals, especially financial goals, but it can be broader goals as well. And it sounds like you're on the right path. And the ring and heart is lovely for a relationship. So this is another combination that suggests that it's more personal and it's not so much the work. Although I have to say both scenarios can apply, both contexts can apply. But certainly with the ring and heart, you're happy with this connection. You could also be feeling really fulfilled with the things that you're doing. And I say that because the ring is not strictly about a relationship. It can also be a card of commitments and involvements and the things that you're doing. And so with the heart, you're definitely into what you're doing. So really nice cards for a relationship, prosperity, moving forward with your goals, and connecting with another person or with other people. So like I said, the cards suggest these two areas, the work and the personal relationship cards, but they can also apply in the same way in other areas of your life. The focus is on a person, or maybe more than one person, but there's certainly a good connection, and it's definitely something that you want to pursue moving forward. And I think we see this materialize strongly within the week. I certainly hope so for you, Virgo. Let me know what you make of these cards, who this person was, in what context this positive connection figured, and how it's moving forward. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Libra, let's get into your line of 7 or your pyramid, and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Libra, here is your line of 7, and what immediately comes through is that you could be thinking about what you really want to do, what you really want to work in, what you really want to pursue. Beyond the job or beyond your present work scope, whether it's a job or your business, you're thinking about the bigger picture. Maybe something happens to trigger this thought, but it could just be you pondering more generally. This is a week where you can really tune into that, and I think it's a bright opportunity. In the middle of the line, we have the Sun. So this is an all-around bright card. It is one of the brightest cards of the deck, so it does bring wonderful ideas and also a sense of expansion. Now, if it's not about, your thoughts about this, or where you're going in life with your work, your career, there can be other interpretations of the line. Let's get to them a bit later. I want to focus on this idea because I think it's kind of unique and it works really well with the cards. So earlier here we have the Garden, Fox, and Cross. This is clearly about your job or your work, maybe certain people on the job because of the Fox. The Fox is about the job. It is the card of work and employment, but it is also a trickier card where it suggests some difficult people to work with, or the need to be careful, maybe even treading on eggshells. And we see it with the Garden, which is a space or an environment. The Cross is a card that can have a few different layers. It can be about difficult decisions. It can also be about sacrifice, and it can bring up this idea of taking stock. And sometimes it's challenging, and it suggests this kind of burden that you could be living with or going through right now. So when we see it with the Garden and Fox, you could be arriving at this juncture in your life, or in a space of sorts where you're pondering, what you're meant to be doing. And on this note, the Cross is also a card of destiny and things that are meant to be. So the Garden and Fox representing your work, or your involvement, if it's not directly a work situation. With the Cross suggests, how do you feel about this? You're sort of thinking about it. Now the Sun is an all-around bright card, and the Heart is very much about feelings. And so together, the pair suggests, what do you really want to do? What does really make you happy? What really aligns with your like your heart and your desires? So it's a really nice progression of the line, where you are taking stock of how far you've come, how you feel about the current situation. The clouds can be a bit challenging. And it does bring up confusion and tension, but it is also a psychological card and the card of thought. So it aligns with this idea where you're thinking about this. And it is a bit cloudy, and with the Sun and Heart, you could be trying to figure out what it is you really see for yourself. The Lily is a card of life and life path and career direction. So it's broader than the element of the job, or where you're situated at right now. The Lily is more about your life path and the bigger picture for your life. So it really works nicely with the rest of the line, where you're trying to feel out and to think deeply about what it is that would be an improvement for your current situation, what it is you want to do longer term, and what the bigger picture of your life and career looks like. So this is quite an interesting line for a weekly reading, Libra. I would say take advantage of this and see if you can tune in and get a feel for what it's like right now and what you envision for yourself over the longer term. There's no need to stress yourself around this. Think of it as a discovery process, and also a personal discovery process. So it's a really good opportunity to go within. So that's sort of a bit of a spiritual level of the cards that I think the cards bring out really nicely. Now we can look at the cards in a more day-to-day way, of course. In this sense, there can be some issues on the job, maybe some responsibilities, but I think you'll do well with them, even though it does bring a bit of stress, and it can affect you a little bit in this sense. When it comes to people, because the fox can represent a person and the garden is a social card, it represents a community or a workplace or some kind of environment that you're in. And with the fox, there can be some questionable characters, and certainly with the cross, you need to be careful about that. So it's important that you be aware of some tensions that could be building up, and that you sort of ease off a little bit about them. The sun in the middle is very good for being optimistic. So I really think that you have like a bigger kind of bird's eye view on the situation instead of falling into the petty details or anything like that. But it can take a bit of time for things to work out. But I also want you to realize, Libra, that not everything is necessarily up to you and something that you're responsible for. So if there is a bit of a bit of tension in this environment, whether it's work or otherwise, I think you don't want your positivity to be affected. Just keep a healthy boundary around yourself. Understand what's going on, but also maybe let things work out. So an easygoing line, I think, that is helpful for self-reflection and also helpful for putting things into good perspective. Now, the cross and heart is lovely here. It does bring up, like we said, this element of importance, like what am I meant to do? What is it that truly makes me happy? So it's a good opportunity to think about this. The fox and clouds can bring up some tension and stress. In terms of the job, you could be feeling less than fulfilled where you are, and this could be part of the reason you're thinking about this. When it comes to people, there could be someone who's clearly a bit difficult to deal with, but again, we're not really seeing some action or some straightforward response to this, Libra. You want to take it easy a little bit and just focus on your positive approach and your sense of optimism. The garden and lily is usually about the workplace or some other peaceful environment. And I think the message is clear, again, that you want to keep the peace around you, Libra. And if there are issues with people, just put these into perspective. Don't get shaken up. And if it's about, what you want to do with your work, your life as a whole, you might also want to consider the kind of environment where you feel that you could thrive, where you feel you can anchor yourself and create a sense of not only a sense of stability, but a sense that this is the launch pad for your bigger objectives. So it's a really interesting line, I have to say, Libra. Really nice messages in terms of thinking about what you want and taking stock of how far you've come. It's definitely a good opportunity to do this week. And when it comes to other people, whether it's at work or elsewhere, or a situation, don't get overly involved in it, understand it, but don't get drawn into it. Keep your peace, keep your positivity. You're using this to situate yourself in the bigger picture of your life. Really interesting cards. Let me know what you think of them and how they played out for you. It'd be always interesting to see. It's always interesting to see how you feel about these cards and how you adapt them to your situation. So let me know. Thank you for tuning in, Libra. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Scorpio, let's get into your line of 7 or your pyramid and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Scorpio, here is an interesting line. We have the beautiful clover and fish, which are bright cards, but we have the whip, which is a challenging card, and then the tower and moon. So these can mean a few different things. Let's build it from the ground up so we'll get a better sense. But before we get into these details, the fish is often a card of money and work and business. I suspect it can also point to it normally points to financial independence, but what I want to say is that in this context, it seems to me that this aspect of being more financially independent can come into the picture. And that's because we have the anchor, the lily, and tower. So what are these cards about? These are about the long-term sense of stability, and so your sense of security could be in focus for you. Let's focus on the details. So the anchor and lilies are about your life and your life path. It can also be about your career. And the anchor suggests sticking with what you're doing. With the clover and fish, it is because it could be good for you financially, and that is your goal as well. So you want to pursue what you're doing or stick with something over the longer term so that you can build this stronger foundation. Now, the fish is usually about money, but it doesn't have to be straight up about money. It could be, more broadly speaking, your sense of prosperity, your sense of security. It can also point to your work and your business. And like I said, this sense of financial independence or independence in other ways. And so the anchor and lily earlier, they encourage you to have that stability and to build your sense of security. Now, the whip is a card of challenges. With the fish, it can point to expenses or financial problems. And I think this is part of the reason why you need to stabilize in order to solve this problem. It is also a really good card for having a more aggressive energy and attitude towards a situation. So if you have financial difficulties or other sorts of difficulties, especially in this area, Scorpio, you want to tackle them with a bit more energy and, a sense of, tackling these aggressively. The Tower and Moon is a really nice combination, actually. It's nice for a sense of peace over the longer term as phases evolve, and I also feel an element of maturity here. And again, it brings up this long-term picture. The Tower is specifically a card of time and longevity. It is also a card of protection, so that's a nice aspect to it in here. And the Moon is also slower. It tends to point to a month, but more generally the phases of the Moon. So this is a gradual adjustment or a gradual path that is going to unfold in order for you to solve any of these problems that you're facing, Scorpio, and so that you can adjust and create a bigger or deeper, I would say, a deeper sense of security for yourself and your life. So that is one way we could read the cards. Another way, we could be looking straight up at your job or your business or some situation in it. And certainly with the anchor and lilies, you want to stand your ground and stick with your disciplines and with what you're doing and your responsibilities. And there could be some challenges, maybe with management or with other people, or there is a situation that comes up, but the Moon is a nice and soft card, and it suggests that you're going to stick with this, especially with the Tower and these cards, and you're going to be able to resolve it. The resolution might not come within the week or so quickly, a bit of patience, but certainly it's going to be turning around. So really nice cards here for a sense of really knowing what you're about and what you're doing and not being fazed by these challenges that could come up. The Clover and Whip is lovely. This can point to a blessing in disguise. I like to read challenging cards with the Clover as suggesting a blessing in disguise. So there can be a reason why this is coming up, so stay tuned. And also you could be in a position to take advantage of it. So again, stay tuned. But in all cases, the Clover really helps lighten up the whip. So don't shy away from this. Don't shy away from tackling the issues in a strong and even aggressive way. And also, if there are problems that come your way, don't flinch. You have what it takes to deal with them. The Lilies and Tower is certainly great for long-term and even your life path. Again, I feel that what you're doing here, the way you're stabilizing things, the decisions that you're making to solve problems, have a really good impact on your life as a whole. In terms of your work, you could be looking here at managers or even seeking a promotion of sorts. So that too is something that you could be pursuing. The Anchor and Moon is lovely for some kind of natural evolution. It is also a combination that encourages you to stay and stick with things and allow things to evolve. The Moon is also a card of appreciation and honors. So you could be some kind of hero or appreciated for solving the problem here. So these are really nice cards. Despite the whip, Scorpio, you are in a position to align with your higher good, align with your long-term security, align with your growth and possibly even promotions and things like that, and also stand out for being able to solve a problem or support or deal with something in a strong way. Now, I think the fish suggests this work situation, and this is supported by Lily and Tower, but the cards can apply in another context as well. In terms of relationships, I'm not really seeing this so much. But in case it applies to you, Scorpio, that this is about a relationship, there's definitely a strong, stable aspect to the relationship, and whatever issue comes up, it's going to be fine. You're going to find a way to solve it. The issue can be financial, or it could be something else. But whatever challenges are brought by the whip, I think, are stabilized and resolved, and you're focused. So nothing is going to phase you. You are on a strong path of security, whether it's just for yourself, in a relationship, or in some specific situation of your life. Let me know what you make of this, Scorpio. I think these are nice cards. Give me your feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Sagittarius, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw your pyramid or your line of 7 and see what is in store for you. Okay, Sagittarius, this is a handful. There are quite a few challenging cards, but we wrap up the line with the Heart and Sun. And earlier is where we see these challenging cards. Now, it's very obvious from the cards, it's very clear that you are dealing with some difficult people, and these are people that have been draining you and they're just annoying. And at this point, I think you're going to draw a really sharp line and you're going to feel really good about this. So on the other side of these challenges, we see the beautiful Heart and Sun, which bring, I would say, even healing, not just happiness and success. And what is also very clear is the Scythe in the middle of the line, which is a sharp break. The Scythe is very much about cutting off and separation and sharp changes. So we see clearly what is going on here. So earlier we have the Dog, which is a card of friends, people, colleagues, even siblings, and we have it with the Mouse and Fox. So each of the Mouse and Fox are challenging on their own, especially when it comes to people. So together they have an added, like a combined effect of people who are difficult and annoying. The Fox is someone who is half-hearted, so not genuine, and the Mouse is usually people who are negative, who drain your energy, and who have like this heavy negative kind of impact. And I have to say that together it can also mean that they are dishonest and they don't say what they really mean or feel, and so it's clear that this is not a fitting relationship or a fitting environment with these people. In the middle of the line we have the Scythe. It sounds like you're going to make a really sharp break this week, or at least starting this week, Sagittarius, and you're going to clear yourself from these people, from this environment. Now, the Clouds can bring a sense of challenge because it is a card of confusion and tension. It is psychological in its nature, so it tends to be, a bit heavier in this sense. And what I feel is happening after, after we see these first 4 strong cards with the Clouds, and also with the Heart, you could be going through a bit of a heavy heart phase, or maybe you're not sure if you acted too strongly and things like that. So maybe you're feeling a bit of regret, or you're thinking about what had just come to pass. That's possible, but also you are affected by this. You are probably in a bit of pain from these people, and so that's the reason why you took this sharp decision. What's really nice is the Sun at the end of the line. The Sun is one of the brightest cards of the deck. It is an all-around happiness and success card, and it's also a really good card for healing. So this is the right thing to do. And the Sun being at the end of the line and being so bright and positive tells us that you have done the right thing, and you would be doing the right thing, Sagittarius, by removing yourself from this unhealthy connections, from this unhealthy situation. Now, the Fox and Clouds really doesn't add too much to what we said. It points to the tension between people and having a sense that, they're not on the same page, they're not necessarily genuine or honest. The Mouse and Heart is a bit of a heavy heart, a bit of pain, but I also feel, because of the broader situation here, that I feel that you could feel that you've been taken advantage of, that your emotions or your feelings, have not been honored or respected, or that you feel that you've you've invested yourself in people who don't appreciate who you are. I feel it could take this nuance a little bit, but generally speaking, this is a bit of a heavy heart, challenges, a bit of negative emotions here. The dog and sun would have been great if there weren't these challenging cards. It is a good combination for friends and friendships. Maybe you need to prioritize, the people that you hang out with or that you interact with, and just focus on the ones that bring you positivity. It is very clear, Sagittarius, that something needs to be removed, and it's looking like it's people. These are negative folks. They're not genuine. They don't have your best interests at heart. They don't really feel, with you, or, they don't reciprocate your feelings. So you need to make a sharp break. And I think you do this successfully, and you overcome this pretty quickly, and you feel good about yourself now that this is removed. So we do see a strong sense of relief. Now, these relationships can happen in any context. I also suspect there can be a job situation here, because the fox is often a card of jobs and employment. So maybe this is where it's figuring for you, at a job or with people, or people at the job, and you feel that you need to break away from them. You could also be leaving a job in a very clear sense, and this could rock your boat a little bit, or it could cause a bit of anxiety through the transition. But it's very clear on the other side of the Sagittarius, you're going to be happy that you cut this away, that you moved away from this. So not an easy week, but certainly with rewards. And I have to say, this could be quite a handful, Sagittarius. I'm really curious to know what you make of these cards. If this is really separating from people in the sharp way that the cards express, or is the change a bit softer? Let me know in the comments, and also let me know in what context this was. I'd be curious to know, because the cards, they sort of offer the fox as possibly the workplace, but it's not necessarily that. It could be a personal relationship, or it could be another group that you're part of. Let me know in the comments if you're willing to share. Very best of luck with this, Sagittarius. Have faith in yourself. You deserve helpful and supportive people, so make changes as you need to. Very best of luck with this. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw your line of 7 and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Capricorn, here is your line of 7, and there are some really good things happening, but there are also some challenges that could cause you to wait until you can take advantage of these positive changes. We have the star in the middle of the line, and the star is one of the brightest cards of the deck. It is all around healing and success, and it brings some wonderful things to you. But we also have the whip as well as the clouds, so it sounds like there are still some obstacles ahead of you. And the thing about the tree here is that you need to wait for things to open up. But definitely shall we say, the bulk of the situation is very positively resolved for you, and there's a beautiful message here. Backing up to the beginning of the line, we have the woman with the house and stork, and this could be someone you have as a relationship, or someone else maybe you live with even, because of the house. And with the stork, there's a change. So you could be moving, there can be some changes, or there are some positive events. Certainly with the star, we see some very beautiful messages. This could be a happy change, a positive change, and likely a welcome change. Now, the thing about the whip with the tree and clouds is that there are some obstacles that are in the way of this, and it sounds like you have to wait a while longer before you can embrace fully the changes here. So it's really about dealing with this until things work out. The tree is really the card that's going to anchor you for a bit, where you have to spend more time for some issues to resolve before you can make this change and embrace this move or this opportunity. Now, the cards are kind of flexible in terms of what context this figures in. This could be a relationship, it could be a work situation, or it could be another space or circumstance in your life. So let's consider these at least a couple of contexts, because I think they're a bit different depending on the context. So when it comes to relationships, there can be some very positive events in this relationship, but moving forward, there are some challenges in terms of where you stay, how you stay together, how you keep connecting. I think the move here, or the changes, they can bring up these questions and these issues. So you could be reconsidering how you connect together, how you spend time together, and if you live together, you know, there could be a home situation that needs to be figured out. In terms of work, you could get an opportunity to move jobs, or, you know, take advantage of some opportunity, even if it's not a job change altogether. But the thing about the whip and clouds on either side of the tree, on this side here, after the star, there are some obstacles in the way. So you're going to have to hang on a while longer before you can embrace this opportunity. Still, Capricorn, there are some really beautiful messages. There's a lot of opportunity and positive things happening here. If things don't immediately work out, they are definitely in the making. So be patient a while longer until the pieces can fall into place. Now, looking at the pairs here, we've got the Stork and Whip. This is definitely something that can rock your boat. It could be a change that comes suddenly. It could be a lot of change. It could be a handful. But I think it's exciting because it's going to bring this energy that, you know, opens up the beautiful stars here. The House and Tree is very much about staying where you are, so being anchored in this situation. And I think because of the Whip and clouds, it's not so much about staying, it's more about staying stuck. So certainly the cars nearby, they affect the tree. The Woman in clouds can be some issues that come up with this person, and in relationships with the tree, you want to chill a little bit, you know, for the issues to cool off. So I think there are a few layers here working, and I think they're working together for you, Capricorn, but you let me know. It sounds like you now have an opportunity for changes, but these changes have an effect on certain people around you or a situation around you, and they could be part of the issues that keep you stuck for some time, where you're waiting for the pieces to fall into place. So there is a wonderful opportunity, but the transition doesn't look to be too smooth. There can be some issues with others. There can be some things that need to be worked out first that cause you to have to maybe step back or slow down before you can embrace this fully. There's, you know, you're enthusiastic about this, but to make things work out, you need to be patient a while longer, Capricorn. It's still wonderful, so just keep this in focus, and whatever comes your way, work on it methodically as much as possible. And when it comes to people, I would say, you know, don't bring up more issues or cause more problems. You know, don't fan any flames that's not necessary. I think you want to keep your peace and focus on taking advantage of this opportunity and really focusing on when it can materialize. So just keep things in order and see the steps ahead, Capricorn, keeping your eyes on the prize. A very interesting line. I certainly look forward to your feedback, Capricorn. If you're willing to share, let me know what happened here, who this person was, and hopefully what opportunity came your way, and then how you had to maybe step back a little bit until you can take advantage of this fully. I look forward to your thoughts. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you as always for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Aquarius, let's get into your line of 7 or your pyramid layout, and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aquarius, here is your line of 7. Not the brightest of lines, but also not very dramatic. It sounds like you have to attend to something that sounds a bit annoying to you, and you have to resolve some issue. It doesn't feel like you're in the mood for this, but it sounds like it's something you have to do. We have the Anchor in the middle of the line. The Anchor is a very solid card. It keeps you strong and confident. It is also a good card for discipline and creating healthy boundaries. So this is something where you want to be in control soon, and you know, be on top of things before anything gets out of hand. Earlier we have the News with the letter and bird, and we have the Snake. Now, the Snake is often a card of secrecy, I have to say. It is a card of discretion and silence. But with the birds and the News card, and then we have the Mouse on the other side here, I feel it's more about this news that irks you, something that you need to deal with. And it can also be like someone is trying to work against you, because the Snake is a deceptive card, and it can represent someone or something toxic. So I think you pick this up very quickly, and you're gonna you're going to quickly be on top of this. Now, on the other side of the anchor, we have the garden and stork along with the mouse. So the garden is a card of place, and it suggests a community or a certain environment. And with the stork, you could be going somewhere or having to, do something in this environment. So it's clear that you need to respond to the news or the feedback that you get here and deal with the situation. The mouse is a challenging card, but it's not very dramatic. It is a card of annoyances and little issues going wrong here and there, and this is what you need to be working on. Now, the line doesn't really tell us the result or the outcome of the current situation or what you need to work on. So it sounds like this week you're focused on at least getting started with it. Now, in terms of people, we have the garden, which is a people card, and the snake, which can represent someone pretty toxic, and we also have the news cards. So if this is about a certain person, then you might need to meet with them in order to work out the issues or to work out the differences. I also feel, Aquarius, that this is not something you're enjoying so much. You could also be stressed or sort of tired from this, but I think you're gonna, get yourself to do it. Certainly the anchor gives you that strength. Now, the cards can figure in different contexts. It could be something personal or something work related or in some other area of your life. We don't really see any theme or context from the cards, so it's gonna come down to your specifics. But they have the same dynamic. There is some upsetting news or just annoying news that you need to respond to. It might need you to go somewhere or to meet with someone in order to work through the issues here. The letter in use can be an invitation. It can also be an announcement. And it could be part of, this news that you're not too fond of here. The stork with the snake, or snake and stork, suggests a more indirect approach, the element of diplomacy and tact, and yes, I would say also this element of secrecy comes into the picture. So be careful, tread carefully, and also don't share everything, Aquarius, so that you don't need to resolve this. Bird and mouse brings up the issues. They're not very dramatic cards, but they do bring annoyances. The bird is also a card of communication, and with the mouse it can feel a bit noisy or like there's a lot that you need to deal with, but I think it's more small stuff. It doesn't sound like a huge deal, but you do want to be on top of it so that it doesn't get worse, or so that you don't forget about it. The mouse actually has a helpful piece of advice. It is a card that tells you to work on things while they are small and manageable before they get out of hand. And the reason is because mice eat away at things, and at first it's not a big deal, but if you just let them go, they're going to eat everything. So that's the idea here with the mouse. So respond to this news or this communication, Aquarius. Be on top of it as soon as you can. Go meet with this person or go to the places that you need to go to resolve the issues, and keep things under control as soon as you can and as much as you can. It might be a little bit annoying, but it's not dramatic in any way, and it's probably for your good and your advantage to deal with this soon. Let me know what you make of this, Aquarius. Let me know in what context these things figured, these ideas figured. What was the issues, what were the little problems here, and if you needed to go somewhere or meet with someone. As always, I like to read your feedback, so it's really nice insight. Very best of luck with this. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Pisces, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's see what is in store for you this week. Let's draw this line of 7 or this pyramid layout. Okay, Pisces, here is your line of 7. It's looking really bright. We do have the clouds at the beginning. The clouds is a bit challenging. It's about complications and confusion and a bit of tension, but it's not a dramatic card in any way. And it is earlier in the line, and the rest of the line is really bright. In the middle, we have the ship, which is great for pursuing ambitions and going after things. It's also good for sales and, that sort of activity. And it can be about travel, so perhaps you're going somewhere. Earlier, we have the road, which is also potentially about travel. So we've got the clouds with the road, and then the flowers and ship. The clouds and road can also mean that you're going through you're going through crossroads and you have to make a choice. This could be part of the confusion or the things that you need to think about. But the flowers is a very bright card, and it brings a lot of optimism and success. It is also an element of renewal, and with the ship, it's clear that you're re-engaging with your ambitions and things could be picking up. So a really nice set of cards here. Now the moon with the ring and tree is great for a relationship and for your commitments in general. It sounds like you're really settled into what you're doing. You seem to be fulfilled in this situation, and things are growing. The tree is a card of growth and vitality, so it's really nice to see this, especially after these cards where things seem to be aligning for you. So your ambitions and what makes you happy and that sense of fulfillment, it's all coming together. Now, of course, the ring can represent a relationship, as in with a person, not with your commitments or the things that you're doing. And so this works out really nicely for a relationship too. Maybe earlier you've had some issues with this person or in the connection, but certainly with the road, flowers, and ship, there is renewal, and there can be a sense of commitment, I can even say. These are some really nice, soft, and gentle energies, so it's a very nice and warm connection, and I think it's going to bring you some wonderful things. So really nice cards, Pisces, great for any area of your life, just overcoming a bit of challenge here or a bit of a thought process, maybe some choices here, and then re-engaging and pursuing these lovely ambitions and this energy that is pulling you through and feeling really settled and fulfilled in what you're doing. So really nice cards in here. Now the flowers and moon is adding to this, and not too much. It's still a really bright combination. It can add an element of creativity, possibly even appreciation. So when it comes to other people or connections, there is a sense of appreciation. I also feel it's mutual. The road and ring can be a choice that you make in terms of your commitment. So this could be about your priorities, but also in terms of a relationship, it's great for coming together. Normally, the road tends more to separations and partings when it comes to relationships, because the road is an independent card and it doesn't like to be tied down. But in this context here, and with the ring after the road, these are really bright cards for moving forward in a relationship. The clouds and tree is lovely for overcoming challenges and for figuring things out. The tree is slow and calm, so you don't need to stress about anything. It looks like things are really going to fall into place. And again, it's a good idea to, to think about things, with the clouds. With the tree, it can mean that you spend a bit of time on your own. The tree is a good card for solitude and a peaceful kind of solitude. So if it's about you figuring things out, figuring out your priorities, it's a good idea to do this, and then you're going to re-engage and really feel this connection with your pursuits. And in terms of a relationship with someone, just allow things to unfold naturally. If there are issues, I think they're going to be ironed out on their own. So a really nice and gentle energy that brings a sense of fulfillment and closeness to what you care about, and also success. And when it comes to relationships, a growing and deepening connection. Really nice cards, great for going after your goals, great for creativity. Go for it, Pisces. Things are going to be worked out and you're going to feel that sense of alignment. Really nice cards. Let me know what you make of this. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.